Well, today, unlike what Steve Harvey does, with you ever watch Family Feud where the one group is up by 200 points over the other, but every time he comes back from the break, we got a good show. No, it's not a good one. You're getting your A's kicked, all right, if you get what I'm saying. But when I say, and every day on my radio show, we don't bring up the typical content. We always bring up something different. We do that here a lot at FloridaDaily.com and here on the Florida Daily Show. So Alex Bougher is co-hosting with us this week. And we're going to get to our panel discussion coming up in a second, but a couple of good issues that are part of the norm, but not part of the norm. I want to talk about the victories. And is this going to lead to I don't think it's going to lead to a civil war, but infighting, which happens. Okay. I mean, the left has infighting among them, but is this going to happen? Because I'm sorry. Listen, I like Tom Massey. Tom Massey lost. I get 50 other issues to get to. I still got people posting this week, well, this is going to be split in the GOP and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. We're going to talk about it here. It is what it is. I mean, listen, on the Republican side of the primaries, Alex Bougher, who, by the way, good to have you co-hosting with us this week.
Glad to join you.
Fox News. Alex, he's kicking butt when it comes to these primaries.
Yeah, I mean, I forget the number, but I saw like this picture. Yeah, and it was like all these little boxes of his wins, and I was like, I felt so proud, actually. I think we need some wins. The infighting has got to stop. It's definitely in both parties, but I hate to say it, but the Republican Party takes the lead there. They definitely take the lead with infighting. And can we just learn from our lessons already? That doesn't get us anywhere, and that's what the other side wants.
Yeah. So let me talk about some of this coming up here, and this is going to be fun. Ron Davis, who is our legal analyst and political analyst as well, comes on with us all the time, especially on the radio show. And then, of course, Matt O'Hearn, NewSouthPolitics.com. He's the editor. And Ron, I don't really have a problem at times, and I've covered this for years as a reporter because, if one side just pretty much has a 100% agreement, you sit back and go, what's the point? There's got to be some fake thing going on. I don't have a problem of differences. Listen, there's a lot in the MAGA I agree with, quite a few I don't agree with, but I think it's a healthy conversation. I want to play for you a clip. Tommy Lauren from Outkick.com, another ex-girlfriend of mine. Joke. But anyway, so you like that one. Here's what Tommy Lauren said, that we got to get behind the president 100%. On the America First agenda. This is what she said, GOP loyalist.
But the problem is when you have such a thin majority, you have to have all of your America First Republicans fighting on the same team. Democrats don't seem to have a problem with that. But unfortunately, on the Republican side, we have a problem with sticking together to get things done.
And I kind of get that. But I think that would show in another area. Let me start with you first, Ron Davis. That would kind of show that, okay, listen, we're not like this typical brain where we just have to, we're not brainwashed. We got to agree with everything Trump says or we don't. For example, we had a housing bill that was written by Elizabeth Warren. The White House supports it. The majority of Republicans voted in favor of it, but 13 Republicans voted against it. I liked it. And yet John Fetterman will vote against his own party. That's not right. But if we vote against our own party, we're called traitors or whatsoever. How do you look at the primary wins by the president? Very successful. But a good thing or bad thing does this create a split among Republicans, and how does this translate into 2026 in the general election here, Ron?
That's going to be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, by all accounts, it was 100% endorsement rate, which is phenomenal.
Right.
You compare that to was it 24? 22. It was a less rate. I still think that election had more to do with Republicans, less of being bad candidates, but more about running at the very end about going after Biden instead of talking about issues. I'm hoping that the Democrats this year do that to us and it backfires. They start talking impeachment and everything else. It's too early to tell whether these candidates are stronger than they were in 22 or weaker. I think some of the upsets in the primaries are very safe districts anyway. Yeah. But I'm pleased. I mean, Trump has to be pleased. But one of the problems we've always had with Republicans, and you and I talked about, I think, on the show earlier this week, was Republicans don't vote monolithic. Democrats do. And that, that's always been the strength of our party, is the diversity in thought. And, we now complain about it. Why can't we do it with Democrats? But that's the same complaint we've heard for 20 or 30 years. Too early to tell.
Alex, let me go with you before I get into Matt O'Hearn here. Alex, I like Tom Massey, and I think he's right. Ron is, and maybe there's a difference of what happened to the candidates, which we'll get into in a few moments, of 2022, with just some of the worst. Herschel Walker, Mehmet Oz. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Mehmet Oz where he's right now at the Center for Medicaid Services, but as a
he belongs, he belongs.
And I'll get into that. There seems to be, and let me follow you for a second. I don't know if Greg Abbott's listen, not that I'm a big John Cornyn guy. I think we could have, I like Ted Cruz in some things and other areas as well. But I don't know if Ken Paxton's going to be the right guy for Texas. I don't know. Maybe not. Democrats are hoping it's Ken Paxton, but that was a Trump endorsement. Everybody wants to brag about many of these Trump endorsements like Indiana. Okay, the Republican primaries. Trump's not going to lose Indiana. But on the flip side of the coin, I must admit, it seems that if you're going to beat some of these incumbent Republicans in a primary or the endorsements, they seem to be at least a little bit of better crop of candidates. I mean, and Matt, I'll get into you in a moment. You may differ with me, at least in what we saw in 2022. How do you perceive this?
I would agree with that. I think they're definitely better overall. But, Trump, just like the difference between his first presidency and this one, he has learned, I think, from his mistakes. And I think he's taking a stronger stance, whether people like it or not. And that's really the feeling that we're getting. And also, I think we have to remember, too, that Trump knows these people a little bit more than we do. He sees things that we don't see. Your average American person is not seeing. He has that information. And so I think we do, again, I don't want to blindly just agree with everything like Dems tell us, like the little sheep, here, this is who you're voting for. Okay, this is who I'm voting for. No, we have our own brain. We critically think, and we can make those decisions for ourselves. But again, we have to stop fighting with each other. So I think, I definitely think it's a better crop of people. And maybe if we're not seeing something, we have to just put our trust in Trump. That's just my opinion.
I love it. You're a loyalist too. I love it. All right. Matt O'Hearn, man, I know you were shaking your head. Let me go back to the tapes. I have thousands of these clips. Here was Fox News, Rich Edson, November of 2022, the races that matter: Georgia, Nevada, Michigan. I'm probably missing a few. Pennsylvania. They're like 5 to 6 races that mattered. And New Hampshire, and every one of Trump's endorsements lost. Listen to the clip.
Across last week's midterms, Trump's success rate in highly competitive races, according to those called, is 13 for 37, or 35%.
35%.
Well,
do you see that translating into the same math in 2022 or 2026 as we saw in 2022?
Well, it's really funny that you mentioned 35%, because that's basically the approval of Trump's handling of the economy and the number of people who approve of this war that he's in. And you can win 100% of the 35% of the Trump loyalists. That's fine. That's not enough to win in the general. And I think that's going to be even more so the case this time around. I'm not here to slam Trump's picks. I honestly couldn't even tell you the first thing about, I don't even remember the guy's name who ran against Massey. Does anyone even remember his full name or anything he's done? I know he was in the Army. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But what did we hear? We heard how terrible Tom Massey was. And why was he terrible? Let's see. He was against foreign, intervention in foreign wars.
Epstein files.
Transparency. Boy, where do those things sound familiar? So, and I'm not going to sit here and I don't want to rehash the Massey stuff too much, but overall, I still don't see anything that gives me any confidence, regardless of the quality of the candidates that the Republicans put up, that that's even going to make a difference, to be honest. And I actually, for the first time, I used to think that Donald was going to eke out a victory as governor. I have a feeling he's going to lose the governor's race.
The general election.
And I think Moody will win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer, certainly a lot closer than the
Moody will win her Senate race. Well, okay, real quick. Why do you think that? Is that because of a Trump endorsement or something? I mean, I know Moody's very
I don't think
way more than Byron.
Trump's endorsement is no longer an asset. It's an anchor. It just is. We're talking about the general election. Now, in the primaries, I don't think it even matters at this point. I know that 6 months is a long time in politics, but I would say this: if the Iran war ended today and they reached an agreement, I don't know that there's enough time. I mean, what's the Republican platform going to be? What are they going to campaign on?
So, Ron, let me play for you a clip. Here's the latest numbers. Fox News' Aisha Hosni, another ex-girlfriend of mine, did the recent polling number. You like that?
How many girlfriends do you have?
It's a subliminal because I think
there's a list on the wall at Fox News.
Oh, there is. Okay. I wasn't privy to that list yet.
That's right. I got my telephone book. So anyway, my Rolodex. So anyway, Ron, here was the latest number to what Matt said. Does this translate because you got to get the independents, and the independents on every main race,
and you have to get the lion's share of Republicans.
Is breaking for the Democrats. Listen to the latest numbers here.
And just 5 months ahead of the midterms, new Fox polling shows 58% of respondents say the cost of living is their top economic worry. That's up 8 points from February. And 71% disapprove of the president's performance on the economy.
I mean,
I posted.
Hey, I said, let me go to Ron.
I'm just saying, that's a Fox poll.
So, Ron, follow me first. I posted on Facebook last night on my regular Facebook page. I said, in 2023 and 2024, the liberal Democrats were the election deniers, were the poll deniers, of what was going on. Even the New York Times polling all showed Trump was going to win. But the poll deniers were, when you look at the economy, Republicans didn't like it. Even though we had record highs during Biden, the economy still wasn't that great. A little hint. The economy in some sectors is okay. Others, it is not. The housing market, manufacturing jobs losses are there as well. So it's not running on all cylinders. You got the war in Iran, and that puts a hamper on this. What I'm getting at is that the poll deniers, and the poll deniers were many of these Democrats, we think the Biden economy is great. In the Fox News poll, we talked about it on my radio show, 36% of non-MAGA Republicans believe the economy is good. 18%, which you got to win, of independents think the economy is good, which means 74% of MAGA Republicans think the economy is great. I'm sitting here going, okay, this is an affirmation to tell the pollster, because the economy at $4.50, it is not running on all cylinders. And unfortunately, and this is not a beat up on all of them, I just see the MAGA base, they're starting to look like the Democrats, the poll deniers of 2024, where they still thought that Biden and Harris were going to win, Ron.
Yeah. Right now, the focus, I guess, is on the independents, right? So independents care about one thing. They care about their pocketbook. And I don't really think Trump's poll numbers are going to make a hill of beans. What they're going to want to hear from candidates out there running is that they are going to try to do something. The one area that Republicans completely have fallen flat on in the last 6 months, especially, they've done nothing legislatively to try to make people's lives better. We heard in December that in January they were going to address, and this is going to be a huge issue this fall, the Obamacare issues, right, the subsidy issues, and everything else. They have done absolutely nothing, even by reconciliation. The voters are going to want to hear from these Republicans running that even if they're going to go in one direction, at least they're going to do something. Right now, the Republicans in Congress have done absolutely nothing and given the independent voters any faith that anything's going to change. And that's scary.
Alex Bougher, when the president talks about school choice and education, to me, it's a home run. I think when we talk about immigration, that's where he actually does very well. We don't talk about mass deportations anymore. If you notice that, we don't talk about some of these things. Well, I mean, they're talking about shutting down some of the detention centers. We got 15 million illegals here. I would be shut. If crime goes down, you don't shut down a certain part of the prison or lay off people at your local police force. I think if we talked more about that, I think is a win-win on a local level that could benefit Republicans. I just don't see a lot of that going on right now.
I just think, and I talk about this all the time, is that there needs to be more communication and transparency with the American people. And that's what we were promised. And I do feel like people are like, okay, this is still not happening. But also, and I said this the day that Trump got in, guys, that doesn't mean we stop working. Okay, now we have to work even harder. Everyone put all their eggs in one basket. They're like, Trump is going to save us. You know, they had all this hope. I mean, obviously, we just came out of an awful 4 years with Biden. You had to worry about about everything, under his administration. So I can understand that. I mean, me as a parent, it was like I breathed a sigh of relief, like, okay, there's not going to be boys in my daughter's bathroom anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, like things are going to be more affordable. But I will tell you this. I'm upset. I'm upset that I went to the executive order signing to keep boys out of girls' sports and their locker rooms.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. And we're still going to all these schools and we're fighting all these schools. I'm upset that I cringe at the idea of what my food bill is going to look like. You know what I mean? And I drive a pickup truck. I don't want to gas the thing.
Nice. Drives a pickup truck. I like it. Matt O'Hearn, does this create a rift in the Republic? I mean, Massey, I like him, but okay, he's lost. I mean, I got 50 other issues I got to deal with. Where does this go? Does this kind of demoralize some of the GOP-based members, maybe where they're at? This is a numbers game. Everybody talks about Republicans versus Democrat, but we always forget independents out there. Is there anything the GOP, and by the way, I think redistricting could save the GOP, but I don't know if that's even going to be enough. What can save them in 20? I know it's May. It's months away. Where did the Democrats screw up on that, or where did the Republicans capitalize on if both can happen?
Well, I think they're both overlooking something that is staring them right in the face. And you know what? If I were Trump's team right now, what I'd be telling him, if he would listen, that's another story, is forget the tariffs. Right now, you need to focus on something that's terrifying people from every age group and demographic. And that's what's going to happen with jobs impacted by artificial intelligence.
I get that.
And a lot of people may laugh when I say that, but I actually think the second biggest issue that's being overlooked is directly tied to that. And this, I'm telling you right now, this year where I've seen the most passion across the board, regardless of region, is something called data centers.
Yes.
And the reason that's come up is, Ron, you're right about independents caring about their wallet. And I think what's interesting about the AI and data center thing is it combines economics with the concern of, you've got environmentalists who don't like these things. And by the way, I'm not slamming data centers, but you also have the economics of it of, yes, there are some great jobs that are produced because of those from the data centers, but then you have AI. And if I were Trump, and this is not going to be a Republican type thing, but since when has he cared about conservative fiscal policy? If I were him, I would say, you know what? If you're a corporation that employs a certain amount of people and you lay off X amount of people and you say it's because of AI, you're going to have to pay this fee because we can't have that many people going to workforce. That is a left idea. I'm just telling you right now, since he doesn't care about fiscal conservatism, if I were him, if he did that, I think his poll numbers would shoot straight up. And the only other thing I was going to say is the not in my backyard aspect of it, kind of like immigration. Well, the not in my backyard is in places where, in rural areas especially, I've seen across the South. In Georgia, it's a big deal as well, not just Florida, where you have these rural communities that are saying, hey, we can't even have a campfire right now because of water shortages. So all that to say, I think there's a missed opportunity the Republicans are missing out on. And I actually think that's something that could really hurt Byron Donalds in the general election.
Yeah.
Ron, I think I think Matt's onto something. We're covering a lot of the AI data centers, the pros and the back and forth. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of the opposition we played this morning is coming from the left and from the Chi-Coms, because the argument is that they want China to be in the, like the moon race. They want them to be the first ones and the U.S. to be in the backseat. I wouldn't support that. I think Matt's onto something, but I think the AI becomes bigger in 2 years. And he's right. We're in our early stages right now, but that does become something out there. Ron, is there still time for the Democrats to commit political suicide? I think you notice that Rahm Emanuel came out, who I think is going to be in the race. He says, listen, we've lost it on the culture war. We've screwed around with Title IX. Democrats, Kamala Harris, remember she had that goofy town hall. There are no bad ideas. No, everything put out by the left's a bad idea. But they didn't address transgender, and they didn't do that. And by the way, Ron, you also notice that they're still not releasing, the Democrats, their 2024 autopsy report of why they lost. A lot of people don't think it's going to be damaging to Kamala. They think it's going to be more damaging to when they sit back and go, we lost on immigration, we lost on crime, and we lost on the transgender issue.
So two things. One is the biggest thing that they can do to commit political suicide is start talking about impeachment and going after Trump. Independents do not want to hear that any more than they wanted to hear Republicans talk about going after Biden. The second issue is it's still going to shake out who their nominees are through the primary process. If they continue to be the far leftists, they will be focused on trans issues. They will be focused on the cultural justice issues or the social justice issues. If that happens, those two things, it's the perfect storm for the Republicans going into this, because neither side will be talking about financial issues. And we know that created so much discomfort with the independents during the Biden administration. So I mean, that's the areas of political suicide by the Democrats. Now, Rahm Emanuel and them, they see that, right? And that's why they've been coming out and saying, "Hey, look, we're wrong, mea culpa, mea culpa." But that's not going to resonate with the base.
Yeah. Alex Bougher, I could talk about several other issues here when it comes to this, and Matt's kind of got an interesting take on the whole AI.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how the data centers work, honestly.
Well,
I've been researching and looking everything up.
I know.
It's so confusing.
Well, one thing I was going to mention too with the water thing is a lot of people who jump on this don't realize that some of them are self-contained and provide their own water and everything. That's a whole other aspect. But
yeah, you never hear that.
right.
You only hear about how much water is going to be used.
My favorite thing is when people put up the memes that are made by AI to oppose.
Alex is a creature like myself on social media. And of course, she won the Newsmax Pageant Queen of the Year because she's on there every day on Newsmax and Fox. But Alex, let me have a little fun here.
Sure.
Matt, Ron, we all are creatures of X and Twitter and Facebook. And I still get a lot of people going, look at the people arrested under Biden of Republicans and other groups. And they're all clamoring, where's the arrest from the Trump White House? I read that a lot. And it's kind of like the Area 51. I mean, we keep hearing it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And after a year and a half, nothing's happened. So here's a loaded question. If there are arrests that happen and they're credible arrests, does that get the base a little bit more amped because it's a numbers game? Democrats are up by 8 points of getting their vote out compared to the Republicans. I understand you got a 250th anniversary, which is awesome. You got a GOP convention, which probably be entertaining. But after, it's like the Christmas party. Once it's done, somebody's got to clean up here. Does anything move the needle? Does that get the base out, getting some arrest? What? You talk to these people all the time. What is it?
I definitely 1,000% feel that way. People are sick and tired of it. I mean, you talk about one issue and everyone's like, well, what about, the Hansa virus outbreak, right? Well, what about the pedophiles that were arrested on the Disney arrested on the Disney cruise? How come we're not hearing more about that? People are fed up. You say you have all this stuff, you're going to release all this stuff. When are the arrests coming? I've actually heard people I won't even say it on here. Just the comments they say are so extreme, but I think it's because it's gotten to that point where they've just, it's almost like Handmaid's Tale or something. Like they've just had it. They're like, we want to go to this extreme society because, we feel like we're on this other end here. So, people are fed up and we need to see something happen.
Ron, when Alex comes on, I love going down the Area 51. I mean, because
I was going to say the alien picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. But Ron, somebody posted, it was from probably some liberal left, and they're on my Twitter, and it's just the way it is. I read what they say all the time just because. Somebody said something one time, and follow me for a second, that they all still believe, because Trump was on the airplane and there's videos, and now the what's the big one now, that Melania was an escort and on Epstein Island and Trump. I don't know. Okay. But Ron, the big one is, well, Trump, anytime, whether it's the media badmouths him, he sues them or other things. Okay. I get it. He's been successful. He's won those lawsuits. They have said that if Trump was innocent, he would be suing the crap out of all of these other networks for, quote, false information of what's in the FBI files that have said about him and accusations as well. And I sat back and go, that's a fun conspiracy, Ron. It still doesn't sell me that he did anything wrong, but they said he knows it. If he thought that he was innocent, why is he suing these outlets for, quote, misreporting of what's inside the FBI files? Ron, have you heard that one?
No, I haven't, but I'm sitting here trying to think. There's only been one allegation that I'm aware of against Trump in the Epstein files
that we've seen,
and that was a secondhand account where a girl said another girl told her that Trump did something to her, and nothing has come out of that. So, I mean, I don't. In major news networks did not pick it up, run it as a true story. They reported it as secondhand information. So, I mean, I don't know what there would be to sue at this point.
I know.
because those are all still, because if they are, they're still part of the 71% of the files we haven't even seen yet.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but the files mean nothing. The girls are there. This is what drives me nuts. The girls are there. You know, I saw something on Facebook this morning about thousands of rich men not getting prosecuted. It's like, first of all, the girls have not even mentioned thousands of men. They've mentioned less than a dozen. You know, and it's like the girls are there. Talk to the girls. You don't need the files to know what happened to the girls when they're there, and they're willing to talk.
I think there's so much more though than just the girls. Like, I think that's the issue, is that there's people that went missing that were, you know, buried.
But there's
Alex, let me just be.
Wait. How do you know there's not? There's still. We haven't even seen half the files.
No,
right, but that's you're so fixated on the files.
No, I'm not fixated. If you can't say you know that there's stuff in there or not when we haven't seen.
But hold on, you remember when the JFK files came out, and we still got like 10,000 have still not been released. And what did everybody say? Yep. What they came out with really wasn't anything new. It was, we knew that Lee Harvey was part of the CIA and he was a front. And so when the files came out, there was nothing new. I don't have any problem with the files coming out. But here's the big question. Epstein was a hot issue. I don't think it's going to be the big issue.
Before the Iran war was launched.
What's that?
Before the Iran war was launched.
Oh, yeah. Well, they see that's the conspiracy.
And isn't it funny the timing of those UFO files coming out?
Like that.
All of a sudden we're talking about aliens.
I just want to know why the alien had shoes on, okay?
Yeah, I mean, the whole UFO
come out with a better picture than that. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm missing that picture. I haven't seen it. I guess I'll have to listen.
Well, first of all, it seems like it has some sort of like handcuff system on, but it doesn't touch the other hand. And then the feet look like
I got to see this. I didn't even want to.
What are we talking about right now?
Yeah.
Everything except the economy and the war.
Yeah, but hey, you wanted to, let me tell you something, Matt. Here's where I don't think they're serious about the whole Epstein. This is before our time. Follow me for a second. When JFK happened, there was a guy that sat in prison for 3.5, 4 years that didn't get interviewed. His name was Jack Ruby. Okay. And he passed away. Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in a prison. Where's she now, in Texas? She's sitting there.
I don't know. Ask Todd Blanche which love.
Well, yeah.
Is she though?
Well, but hold on. But if you really wanted to at least show that you're, listen, the Republicans called up Clinton and they brought in Howard Lutnick because he knew.
You know, I'm not a Democrat, by the way. I'm just.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. But what I'm getting at, what I'm getting at is that if you really wanted to have some fun and show that you're concerned, why aren't the Republicans, Matt, calling up Ghislaine Maxwell and have her testify even in the closing? They've got the power to do that. If they were serious, they would have done it.
You're getting back to why this is why I'm politically homeless and have been for a decade. There's just as much damaging stuff probably in there for them. I mean, she ultimately has actually she has the best cards of everybody.
Yeah.
Because no matter who walks into that room, she can even just make something up, right? On either side.
Todd, here's the thing. And I know Alex, you can jump in anytime. But here's the thing, that they all bragged about her when she said, and there's been no proof that Trump's been on the island. But everybody goes, no, we know that Clinton's been on there. And she says, nope, Clinton's never actually been on that island either. And then,
she's also been discredited a bunch.
Right.
Too.
So the question is, does she have credibility or does she not have credibility?
She has no credibility.
I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, she has none. She can make up whatever she wants. She can change it day by day. Whatever's going to work for her. Oh, if I say this, maybe it'll get me a lesser sentence. I also don't even believe that she's really sitting in jail. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but this world is so messed up.
Alex?
I'm sorry, conspiracy. I put my
where in the world is
I love it. Alex is not
lied to. We have been lied to about almost everything. Nothing is what it seems. I don't believe any of it. And I'm sorry, but there are so many victims, whether they're in the files or not, that aren't here anymore to speak for themselves. So we need everything out. Or what's out?
Matt or Hurt. I get Matt and Ron. This has been entertaining. I needed this today because I entertain everybody on my radio show. Matt O'Hearn and NewSouthPolitics.com. Ron Davis, both of you legal commentator. I'm glad both of you came on today.
That's fun.
Yeah, what a good discussion. And I got those two. I got to get them back on.
It was fun.
Alex is going to hang out with us this week and co-host. And you mix things up, and that's what the audience likes. By the way, just to remind everybody, go to FloridaDaily.com. Everybody's been watching this on the website, which is good, but we have our YouTube page. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe and like it as well. And we'll have another edition. Our good friend who's hanging out with us this week, co-hosting from Newsmax TV and other groups, Alex Bougher. Alex, we'll do it again.
All right. I'm excited to do it.
All right. Right here. This has been the Florida Daily Show again right here with FloridaDaily.com.